a switch, open fire on the bust ass bitches. Lord, Lord, Lord,
Peace and black power, peace and black power, peace and black power. This is Underground Warrior TV. We back with another video, exclusive video. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell at the bottom down there so you always be in the crosshairs every time I drop one of these spectacular videos. Go ahead, come into the channel, mash up those likes, share the video. Share the video, subscribe to the channel because it matters right now. It matters right now. When my back is up against the wall, I come out swinging. And y'all know I'm coming raw and uncut. I come raw and uncut with the truth on this particular channel. Underground Warrior TV is underrated because I cut right through the chase. I cut right through the red tape and give you that exclusive, real, up close and personal truth that the world hates. You see what I'm saying? The devil hates the truth. So if you're one of those persons don't like the truth being propagated, then you are of the devil. I was told that the devil doesn't like the truth. I was told that the devil fantasizes and make up history as he go. He make up things, and this is how the devil continue to rule 9/10 of the earth. Your Bible say that Satan comes to rule 9/10 of the population or 9/10 of the earth. And I can bear witness to those truths that 9/10 of the earth is being controlled by the devil, by Satan. And Satan can only rule in falsehood. That's Satan. That's Satan's whole genetic, whole foundation, the whole genetic makeup of Satan. His whole foundation is that of falsehood. He could not rule the world propagating the truth because the truth exposes his falsehood. You see what I'm saying? So you know I come raw and uncut like China White. You get that real dope when you fucking with me when it comes to this knowledge. You see what I'm saying? On what's going on in this world, how this world is ran, who pushed the buttons, who thoughts that you be seeing or seeing rule this particular world that we live in. Everything is ruled off this satanic train of thought. You get your education You get your education from Satan. These schools, these colleges, preschool, I don't care. All of it's based on the predicate of what Satan want to give you. You see what I'm saying? It's predicated on what Satan wants to give you. He prescribes the circumference of your knowledge. You can't think outside the box. You can't, in Satan's world, go outside the fears of falsehood. Soon as you find out the truth, you become public enemy number one. You become public enemy number one. Why do the Republicans of this country want to do away with the Board of Education? Why do the Republican Party want to do away, Donald Trump want to do away with the Board of Education? I'm going to tell you why. The conscious level of black people are rising to a higher degree. As we go into this Aquarius season, as Aquarius rotate in the house of those people who are the true children of God, the conscious level that hit the planet is raising black people to another level. Education. The white man fears that education will raise the conscious level of black people to take their proper position in this world as rulers, not servants, not slaves. People live and exist off the backs of black people. Our monies go into the hands of non-African people. Non-African people, we go to them for all services in life. They never come spend money with us. People live off the backs and blood of black people in all sectors of life around the globe. Ever since we fell captive to these people some 500 years ago, enslaved, our nation was trapped. I don't want to hear that you didn't come from Africa and you were somehow some type of Asian straight that came to our particular place they call America 16,000 years ago. Africans already were here in America, visit America. In fact, South America, before the planet broke away and became more water, South America and Africa probably fit together. They call it Pangea. So with that being said, the Africans also have maritime provision, maritime skills to get from Africa to what they call South America. And that's where you get your Olmec dynasty from. And they keep calling the Olmec dynasty Indian and Asian. They don't want to give props to Africa, the anti-Africa saga that we're going through right now. Blacks in this country are Indians and they hate African people. And this is done on purpose. And we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of why all of a sudden you're anti-African. Negroes are helping push the agenda of the white man to eliminate black people worldwide. Yeah, these Negroes who call America Egypt and trying to identify with this country instead of trying to unite with all black people. They want to be something different. Hebrew Israelites, Muslims, Christians, these are just titles. At the end of the day, you have an African parent. But that's neither here or there. What we're going to get into, most black people don't know what the hell is going on. They just live on with their lives. We go on and live with our lives and voting into a system of genocide. Yes, the government of America has always ostracized black people in a stationary position. We don't go nowhere. You vote for people who don't take you nowhere. We're stationary. We're not moving as a unit like other races. We are scared to mobilize and unite with ourselves in this country. We are backwards in this country. If you are Indian and you're not African, where is your Indian nation where you run your own business? Stop the police from beating you upside the head because you look African, but you Indian, but you look like me. You look like the people from the continent of Africa. Why is the police beating you upside your head? Why is the police killing you? Why are you getting denied equal opportunity in this country if you're an Indian? The people that they call Indians, like the Eskimos and Mexicans and Latino people who are really the Indians, who are raped by the Spanish and they speak Spanish language. But these are the Asian straight people. But we was already here. So know your history and know who people are. Who are the Eskimos? These are people from Asia who migrated from the Asian Strait, from, let's say, Siberian is where they all came in, Siberia, 16,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago. These people didn't build nothing in South America. The pyramids were built by African people. Only African people build pyramids. No other race of people build pyramids. We find pyramids in China. 72 pyramids were built by the Black Ming dynasty. Know your stuff before you come at me with this Indian stuff. Who are the freemen? Who are the Seminoles? The red Seminoles enslaved the African, the freemen, and they became black Seminoles. The Cherokee Indians, the Asian straight Cherokee Indians enslaved black people, and you became black Cherokee. See, that's neither here nor there. Why is the education of black youth or black people or any youth of people, whether they be white, Chinese, why is that knowledge being nullified or known about the American history of the lynching, the slavery, the killing of our people did happen in this country? Why is that being ostracized and kicked out of the school system, history classes? Why you cannot take a real thorough look at history? Why? Because the Caucasian man think you're dealing with an educational, mind awakening knowledge of what's in history books. But that's not what the white man can interpret, because he interprets it as this education might raise the black youth or the white youth to do something different against the old ways. The old ways. That means oppressing black people no matter where they're at, and making sure that black people don't rise to an economic status as a unit. They'll let you have an individualist bankroll. They let you have an individualist bag, but don't put that bag together and become a powerful people. They can only exist off our ignorance. But somehow this kind of knowledge to enlighten our people, to unite as one people, it's a crazy way of thinking. You would be ostracized as a black man or a black woman by your own people, because our people have bought into the notion that black people ain't nothing and white people are almighty, so they should lead. But the education being nullified Knowing about America's brutal history of slavery and Jim Crow and lynching is being not taught in the schools. This is why they want to get rid of board of education, to keep you ignorant to the knowledge of yourself. What kind of empire? All great empires had a library, had a schooling system. Ancient Egypt had a schooling system. All empires had a schooling system. Why would you get rid of the education? To keep the populace of the people uneducated. They want to teach our youth nothing, to be nothing but servants. They don't want the youth to grow up and be world leaders. Responsible world leaders who probably wouldn't use imperialism, dropping bombs on people to steal their natural resources, what the Western world does. The white Western world does kill in the name of democracy, to steal resources, leverage in the land. They must have natural resources. They don't pay for nothing. They take everything. So most black people don't know what the hell is going on. We just live in a world, vote into a system of genocide, stationary. We don't go nowhere. The Western world leaders, for us who just live our lives, we don't know what's going on. When you hear black men talk about America, France, Germany, all the white worlds who jumped on Africa, enslaved the Africans, the Portuguese, all these people are still living today, and they keeping a trend of trying to assault and stay on top of black people. But I'm crazy because I come along with my Pan-African thinking, and I make it dangerous for other black people because of my thinking. No, it's only dangerous to the white man. This kind of thinking of uniting black people is dangerous because nobody can make a fool out of you. They make a fool out of us on all levels of the game because we don't come together as one. You see what I'm saying? The Western world leaders don't know it's the spiritual resurrection of black people around the globe. You see what I'm saying? Who are waking up to European dominance, European behavior towards black people, the unjust behavior towards our people. It is the spiritual resurrection. So, the education of history and the spiritual resurrection is the dangerous antidote for the white man. The white man knows some time in the future, and it may be this time, that he will see his power dissolve in degrees. And you wonder why you got a Kamala Harris and a Donald Trump. Is this the best two candidates that they had for us to choose? For you to choose, not me. I don't have no dog in that race. You see what I'm saying? No. Black people in this country don't know what's going on. And I emphasize that because they think that America goes and to Africa, different parts of the world as peacekeepers, trying to stop people from committing genocide against each other. Well, America stirs up a lot of genocidal behavior inside the borders of Africa so it can control the resources, the money that's in Africa. So we have a new time. We living in a new day. And black people are lagging behind in this country because we don't jump on board and be for our race. See, race, loving your own race and racism that's going on in America is a team sport. Racism is a team sport, and only black people play for other teams. They don't play for Our team. There's a black team, white team, and red team, brown team, whatever else team. These people are on board. You can't be mad at the Mexican who do not like you, black man, who do not like you, black woman. They despise you. You are the power, but they despise you and jealous of you because you are the potential. You are the power, but you're so ignorant and refuse to unite with your people. You think it's racist, but the racists are winning the race. The Mexicans shop with the Mexicans. The Mexicans stick together. You might laugh at the Mexicans. They live in one house. It'd be 40 people to one house. They have no issues with everybody getting a job. They have no issues of everybody getting a job, taking their money, come together and build their own company. Now they work for self. You can't get 50 niggas in the house together. 50 black people going to be jealous of one. There's going to be some conflict because we don't love each other. We was taught to hate ourselves, you see. So it is the spiritual resurrection of black people that Donald Trump and all white people fear right now. For you people who say Donald Trump is not a racist, you're out your damn mind. Name me one black Republican he named for the cabinet in his cabinet. Who did he promote? Who did he get on board that's black? Show me. We know he got an Indian on board who think against you, black people. He got an Indian, a Kamala Harris type that's on board with this train of thought. The Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz. I did a video. Matt Gaetz is mad at Niger, African people who kicked out America out of the country. America over there stealing gold, paying Islamic insurgents to attack African people to keep it unstable, keeping you stationary. So why they create riffraff, America is over there stealing. Yeah, natural resources. So Matt Gaetz said Biden should drop bombs on these particular people. So you know why Donald Trump wanted to make him Attorney General, because he thinks the same way Donald Trump is thinking. Kill the Africans for the natural resources. And that's why these niggas run around here in America with the anti-African agenda. So when you start killing Africans, the Indian Negro that's an Indian, I got nothing to do with that because that ain't our people over there. The Hebrew Israelite, he's not African. They don't got nothing to do with us over here. We're not African. They done segregated black people by where we from. If I was born in Jamaica, I'm still have an African descent. I'm just black, born in Jamaica. Haiti, the Haitians are African. That's why I don't understand why the hell Kenya, President William Ruto, sends a force, African police, into Haiti to attack other African people. We got to stop doing that. We got to quit being pawns for the white man. If you knew Haiti's true history, Negro, you wouldn't agree with Biden administration, America in Haiti right now. If you knew the history of the American government and its mistreatment of Haiti, read up on the history and see that America invade Haiti and occupy Haiti and steal gold out of the Haiti's banks and money out of Haiti's banks under invasion. Yes, read the history. Read the history. Did France meet defeat at an African general's feet? Did he get annihilated, Napoleon Bonaparte, by the Haitians. So when you start doing your real research, you will see that these devils, these people, are no good for black people. We don't get nowhere. Your voting, all your ass kissing, you kissing Donald Trump's ass, and he's anti-black. You feel like a fool, didn't you? But you voted for him. If you voted for Kamala Harris, you still voting for an anti-black, anti-African world. This world would never be African until we take hold and unite as a people and show them what we got. Show them who we are. Stick your chest out, black man. Be accounted for. Praise yourself. Quit praising the white man. When you know your history, you will praise yourself. Yes. So, black people in this country have adopted a slave plantation education of self-hate. And this is why we're anti-African people, black people. But most black people in this country are African descent. I put my life on it that we have African descent, blood in our bloodline. Yeah, you may have some Native American in you. They enslaved you. You should have some Native American in you. The Asians enslaved you. So, that is a new negative, a new narrative. It's a new narrative that we are Indians while we debating religion, and we debate religion, and all religions were used, that Bible, that Quran, all religions on the planet was used to enslave black people. But we sit up and debate Bible and Quran, the same tools that was used to enslave black people. You can be what you want to be for a religion. Your religious status shouldn't come into play when it's time to unite our people. So we debate religion. We debate if we Indian, if we African, while we debate a global shift in Africa. It's happening. The global shift around the planet is happening, but we are too zombie-like sleep as black people. There's a global shift happening in our midst. African people are uniting in Africa. The white man of the West has been kicked out of these particular countries that I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, the Sahara or the Sahel region, not the Sahara, but the Sahel region, Chad, and all other African nations are starting to rebel against Western dominance, imperialism, colonialism still exists. When you can go into a country and rob the country of its natural resources to keep the Western world strong. If it wasn't for the surrogate mother, Africa, Europe will be still living in dark ages. If it wasn't for the surrogate mother, Africa, America would live prestigious as she lives today. Where do you think all natural resources are coming from? And Donald Trump sees an opportunity to try to attack African people with military, because African people in Africa are waking up to make money off their own resources. Why Africans coming to the United States? Why Africans going to races as Dubai? Why is Africans coming to the racist United States of America? Why is Africans taking a chance going to Chinese places in China to work as slaves getting little bit of money and being treated as a nigger. Why are we leaving Africa, coming to the United States where they hate all of us? Why is Africans leaving the continent of a rich soil, rich ground, rich terrain with big money? This money has to stay in Africa. How is it that the uranium helped power France when certain places in Africa don't even have electricity? You got the minerals, the resources to make electricity, but the white governments do not want you to have it. And the leaders, the puppet leaders, got to keep the Africans in dark, while France have power, have light, have electric running through their cities. This is the way white people want us to live as black people. The majority of white people don't want to see black people with nothing. So there's a global shift happening where Africans are waking up, spiritual waking up. They throwing out the language. They teaching real history of who black people really are. They kicking out France and America, the wicked man of the West who only occupy Africa to only kill Africans and steal from Africans. Natural resources. Africans are tired of being exploited by white supremacy, white dominance. Check this video out. Check the video out. You got to check it out, the whole entire video, to understand the complexities that's happening in Africa when dealing with the Western world in America. Because I done told this to many of my people, and they told me I was a conspiracy theorist and I hated the white man for exposing who the white man really is when it comes to the American government, the white man with the JCPenney suits, the Congress, the senators, the Republicans, the Democrats. They all agree to oppress African people. So how in the hell, black people in this country, you think your vote really matter? It doesn't matter. They got a new people on their team, the Latino vote. Check this video out. It's like a 20-something long video, but check it out. I'll get right back with you.
Is Donald Trump demonstrating that the West no longer controls Africa by doing what no other US president has dared to do? Or is the West's increasingly frantic attempt to maintain power being reflected in his strong position against Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali? The worst part is still to come. What if these three small Sahelian countries are poised to challenge Western exploitation and change the norms of global dominance, something entire continents have failed to do? Let's investigate. Once confined to the periphery of world affairs, the Sahel is currently at the epicenter of an extraordinary geopolitical maelstrom. Three countries that many Western observers have written off as being poor and unimportant, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, are rewriting the history of African resistance. Their disobedience goes beyond mere symbolism. These countries have publicly denounced Western powers, rejected exploitative deals, and driven out foreign forces. The populace is supporting their leaders with unheard of anonymity as they unreservedly prioritize African sovereignty. Let's introduce Donald Trump. He has adopted a tough posture against these countries since returning to the White House, seeing their actions as a direct challenge to American power. The harsh measures of his administration are making the situation worse, causing a conflict that might change how Africa interacts with the West and the rest of the globe. We'll examine the underlying roots of Sahelian disobedience, the significance of Niger's stunning coup in this developing story, and how Trump's strategy may be the last straw for Western domination in Africa in order to comprehend this seismic shift. Why, therefore, are Sahelian countries so brazenly opposing the West? You must begin with the fundamentals in order to comprehend the resistance of the Sahel. Why has this area been so tightly controlled by the West for so long? A poisonous concoction of disdain, reliance, and exploitation holds the solution. Countries like Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali have been viewed for decades as little more than suppliers of oil, gold, uranium, and raw resources that enrich Western economies at the expense of their destitute inhabitants. However, something has changed. These countries' leaders have decided that enough is enough after being emboldened by military takeovers and strong public support. Their audacity isn't arbitrary. It's the result of years of annoyance and a developing understanding that everyone except Africa gains from the status quo. For instance, Burkina Faso. The youngest African leader, President Ibrahim Traoré, has come to represent rebellion. He has criticized the West for its hypocrisy in vehement speeches, citing years of conditional aid and military actions that prioritized Western interests over the security of Africa. Under his direction, Burkina Faso nationalized its gold mines, drove out French troops, and started paving the way for independence. In the meantime, Niger has focused on uranium, a resource that hasn't done much for the country's growth, but is essential for powering Europe. Under contracts that left Niger with crumbs, Western corporations have been extracting uranium from its mines for years. Niger's current demands for renegotiations that take into account the actual worth of its resources point to a larger change in how African countries interact with the international economy. Mali has also taken decisive action. Following the withdrawal of foreign soldiers, the nation has improved relations with its neighbors, creating a regional coalition that seeks to oppose outside intervention as a group. Cultural sovereignty has also been given top priority by Mali's government, who have redesigned educational systems to emphasize African languages and history above colonial legacies. There was more than one wave of defiance. Decades of exploitation served as its catalyst, and the knowledge that the West's promises of progress frequently came at the expense of genuine sovereignty only served to exacerbate it. The tipping point, though, that occurred in Niger, when the region's relationship with the West was drastically altered by a coup. The coup in Niger in 2023 was more than a simple political upheaval. It was a covert revolution. General Abdourahmane Tiani did more than simply overthrow a government when he took control. Decades of neo-imperial rule were declared to be over by him. Tiani exposed the depth of Niger's problems with the United States and its Western allies in a scathing speech that went viral around the continent. He described a counterinsurgency strategy that put Western security ahead of Nigerian life, predatory contracts that left Niger rich in resources but poor in wealth, and a military presence that felt more like occupation than collaboration. The taxing of US military planes operating in Niger was among the most startling disclosures. Even though the US was profiting from operations that frequently had little to do with Niger's security while using Nigerian airspace, Niger was not benefiting. Tiani wasn't hesitant to expose this as neo-imperialism in its most blatant form. The people of Niger, who perceived the coup as a return to their sovereignty, overwhelmingly supported it. The administration announced plans to examine all agreements with foreign powers, and crowds celebrated as US forces were withdrawn. This was a matter of dignity for the people of Niger, not only politics. However, Washington was likewise alarmed by the coup. Tiani's actions were seen by the US, led by Donald Trump, as a direct challenge to its authority in Africa. Aid was stopped, sanctions were put in place, and the tone became more antagonistic. But the knock-on impact was something Trump didn't expect. In defiance of Tiani, laid the groundwork for a broader, continent-wide movement by encouraging other countries in the Sahel and beyond to reevaluate their ties with the West. So, is Donald Trump inadvertently promoting African unification, A new chapter in US foreign policy has begun with Donald Trump's return to the White House. It has been full of mistakes, but none more obviously significant than his strategy for Africa. Trump's administration has presented its activities in the Sahel as necessary responses to increasing instability, all under the guise of regaining America's influence on the international scene. However, the truth is much less flattering and much more complex. The core of this strategy is Trump's choice to intensify on aggressive strategies, an action that betrays a more profound ignorance of Africa's changing political environment. The Sahel, which is frequently depicted in Western narratives as a region rife with turmoil and insurgency, has seen significant transformation in recent years. Rejecting exploitative alliances and regaining their sovereignty, nations such as Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali have resisted Western influence. Trump has adopted a hostile approach, viewing these countries' defiance as a danger rather than a chance for communication, rather than interacting with them on an equal basis. The nomination of Matt Gaetz as Attorney General is among the most contentious aspects of Trump's Africa policy. Even in American political circles, Gaetz is a divisive personality who is notorious for his uncompromising beliefs and provocative statements. His role has been nothing short of catastrophic for the Sahel. Since his initial remarks in public, Gaetz made it apparent that he believed the government of Niger to be anti-American, as was the largest Sahelian resistance. He declared that the United States must take into account all alternatives, including military involvement, to safeguard its interests, and accused the governments of the region of encouraging instability. He rejected the justifiable complaints of Niger's leadership as merely justifications for poor leadership in a particularly inflammatory speech, portraying their demands for sovereignty as an effort to avoid accountability. In addition to being tone-deaf, his comments were an outright insult to countries who have long been exploited by the West. Such rhetoric resonated in the Sahel, where colonialism and neo-imperialism have left profound scars. Gaetz's remarks were seen by African leaders as evidence of the West's resistance to change or listen. They became a rallying cry for Africans, for their government's refusal to accept influence from the West. The consequences were immediate. Leaders and activists throughout the area denounced Gaetz's remarks, characterizing them as representative of a larger Western conceit. People carrying posters condemning US meddling and demanding stronger African unity erupted in protests in a number of Sahelian capitals. Hashtags praising the removal of foreign forces and emphasizing the Sahel's struggle for dignity swept social media. Beyond Africa, Gaetz's words also had unforeseen repercussions. It widened the gap between the US and other superpowers that have positioned themselves as supporters of African sovereignty, especially China and Russia. Chinese and Russian officials were offering assistance, while Gaetz was brushing off Niger's complaints, presenting their engagement as collaborations rather than favoritism. Given this, Gaetz's strategy and Trump's more comprehensive Africa policy has aggressively undermined US influence in the Sahel in addition to failing to restore it. African nations have become more united and determined to oppose Western domination as a result of the administration's escalation of tensions and rejection of valid complaints. This error of judgment exposes a basic weakness in Trump's foreign policy, which is its dependence on antiquated tactics that are out of date in an era where African countries are establishing themselves as equals on the international scene. Trump and Gaetz have increased their confrontational stance instead of recognizing these changes, which might further isolate the United States in one of the world's most geopolitically important regions. Trump's larger African approach exposes a serious error. However, that isn't it. His government has used coercive rather than cooperative methods in an effort to regain authority over the increasingly rebellious Sahelian countries. And Mali, relying on their economic weaknesses to compel acquiescence, Trump sought to use force to subdue these countries. However, the Sahel has dug in its heels rather than bending the knee. These punitive actions have had a disastrous backlash and haven't done anything to erode the commitment of leaders like Abdourahmane Tiani or Ibrahim Traoré. Instead, they have strengthened the opposition in the area and spread the word about Western exploitation. These acts are perceived by African populations as attempts to penalize countries that dare to demand sovereignty rather than as initiatives to advance stability or governance. By imposing sanctions on Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, Trump has unintentionally strengthened a narrative that portrays the West as an empire that is determined to hold on to Africa at any costs. This story has inspired protests, grassroots initiatives, and demonstrations in Sahelian streets. A rise in backing for leaders who are now praised as representations of African rebellion and dignity. Once dubious of their government's policies, citizens have come together in support of them, united by a common disgust for what they see as bullying by the West. However, the consequences extend beyond the Sahel. The West was not prepared for the tsunami of continental unity that Trump's actions have sparked. Leaders from Guinea to Chad have openly expressed their support for the struggle in the Sahel, portraying it as a battle for Africa as a whole, not just for the region. What may have been a singular conflict has become a larger movement for African self-determination as a result of this increasing solidarity. Think about Guinea, where President Mamadi Doumbouya has emphasized the need to break free from Western dependence, while echoing the Sahel's demands for statehood. A significant figure in regional politics, Chad has also sided with the Sahelian alliance, intensifying appeals for group action to combat outside meddling. This solidarity is more than just a token gesture. In contrast to Western policy, regional alliances are growing stronger, marking a change in African geopolitics. Powers from around the world who are keen to challenge Western domination have taken notice of the situation outside of Africa. Russia and China have both taken advantage of the chance to portray themselves as supporters of African sovereignty. For example, Beijing has stepped up its win-win rhetoric by providing business partnerships and material support that it says are free of the conditions usually associated with Western aid. Moscow, however, has emphasized its role as a backer of countries opposing neo-imperialism by utilizing its long-standing ties to the continent. This is a strategic nightmare for Trump. His administration has unintentionally given alternative international alliances a platform that devalues America's reputation rather than isolating the Sahel and reclaiming US power. The United States has alienated not only Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, but also a whole continent that is growing more and more disenchanted with Western intervention by viewing the Sahel's defiance as a danger rather than a chance for communication. A deeper irony is also revealed by this era. In an attempt to regain authority, the very injustices and disparities that the leaders of the Sahel are battling against have come under intense scrutiny from Trump's administration. The United States has effectively confirmed the assertions of African leaders that Western nations are more concerned with preserving their domination than with developing true partnerships by halting aid and enforcing sanctions. The most interesting section comes next. Africa gets more united the more the West resists, provides yet another focal point for a continent fed up with being ruled. Africa's relationship with the West and the rest of the globe may be redefined by the wider movement that started as a Sahelian struggle. Trump's administration has only been successful in emphasizing the power of a unified Africa through its efforts to punish and isolate. It remains to be seen if this unity can result in long-lasting change. However, there is little doubt that the continent is realizing its combined might, and that the West's conventional methods of control are eroding. However, what are the desires of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso? These countries aren't looking for turmoil or seclusion, despite what the West says. They desire anarchy, seclusion, or simplicity. They desire equality, simplicity, decency, and partnerships that honor their sovereignty. Under Traoré's direction, Burkina Faso is making self-sufficiency a top priority. The government is rerouting resources toward domestic growth, restructuring agriculture, and investing in regional sectors. This is about creating a future independent of the West, not about rejecting it. Meanwhile, Niger is advocating for more equitable trade deals. Despite being one of the world's poorest countries, Niger's wealth in uranium has long powered European energy systems. A wider change in how African countries interact with the international economy is being signaled by Chiani's government's demands for contracts that accurately reflect the worth of Niger's resources. Mali is adopting a distinct, although no less audacious strategy. The nation is recovering its cultural identity through educational reform. A new generation that prioritizes sovereignty over subservience is being produced by giving African history, languages, and customs precedence over colonial narratives. Rewriting the guidelines for international relations is at the heart of these countries' demands. They don't oppose the West. They support Africa. Additionally, their disobedience is encouraging other countries to reconsider their ties with superpowers. Can a continental revolution be sparked by Africa's defiance? The quick response, indeed. But not without difficulties. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have evolved into much more than just rebellious Sahelian countries. They are becoming change agents and symbols of resistance, sparking a broader African movement. Other countries are being prompted to reconsider their ties with foreign powers by their audacious acts, which include recovering national cultural narratives, demanding fair economic agreements, and driving out foreign soldiers. From artistic renaissance to economic reforms, in capitals all around the continent, discussions are being sparked by the Sahel's defiance. While states like Ghana and Nigeria are attentively observing how these countries handle the volatility of defying Western control, Guinea, Chad, and Algeria are publicly endorsing the Sahelian bloc. Many African leaders are asking themselves, if the Sahel can do it, why can't we? However, this is not solely an African tale. These countries are changing the world order by opposing Western domination. Africa has been perceived as a raw material provider and a non-active participant in world politics for many years. That script is being reversed in the Sahel. The world is being forced to face an Africa that will not be disregarded, minimized, or taken advantage of by the actions of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. Western countries, who have long been used to dictating African policies and controlling their resources, are currently frantically trying to adjust to this new reality. There is increasing pressure on the African Union, which has frequently been chastised for its silence, to join this rising resistance movement. Political independence is only one aspect of the Sahelian revolution. It's about regaining Africa's voice in international decision-making, cultural pride, and economic liberation. Africa will no longer be a pawn in someone else's game, according to this remark. The path ahead won't be simple, of course. The stakes are too high for Western powers to give up their sway easily. The West is already using diplomatic isolation, media portrayals of the Sahel as insecure, and economic sanctions as means of undermining this movement. These countries have major internal challenges. Neo-colonial constructions are being demolished while preserving interior, and Mali must strike a careful balance between opposing outside meddling and establishing strong institutions that can uphold their newly acquired independence. Another possible barrier is the possibility of division within the continent. While many African countries back the Sahel's resistance, others may be reluctant to join this movement since they are largely dependent on Western aid or are subject to Western interests. If this revolution is to be successful on a continental level, the unity of purpose that the leaders of the Sahel have fostered must be extended throughout Africa. Nevertheless, the momentum is indisputable in spite of these obstacles. These three countries' acts have already sparked discussions about equity and sovereignty in places well outside of the Sahel. Activists in South Africa are demanding that the country's business alliances with Western companies be re-examined. In Kenya, land rights and the impact of international farming corporations are topics of increasing discussion. The Sahel's actions have reignited calls for a regional currency free from French control throughout West Africa. Regaining resources and driving out foreign forces are only two aspects of this effort. The goal is to redefine Africa's global role. It's about insisting that Africa be regarded as an equal rather than as a dependent or subordinate. So, will anything change as Trump is re-elected? Is Africa ready to confront Trump as a whole? Do you think Trump will be able to attack a united Africa? Tell us what you think in the comments section below. We explore the rich history, culture, and the ongoing struggle for sovereignty in Africa. Join us in this important conversation by subscribing to our channel. By subscribing, you're not just staying informed, you're becoming part of a movement dedicated to reclaiming Africa's rightful place on the global stage.
Black family, so will we see a Donald Trump administration use military might against Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, who resist against Western world of imperialism, domination? African people are waking up while niggas in America in the West still walking black zombies who are afraid to unite. But we say the Africans are backwards. We say the black people on the continent of Africa look like us, are not related to us. We have no African DNA running through our bloodline. We're no kin to those people, according to some Negroes in this country. While we debating about Democrat and Republican, while we debating who favors slave master that we want in office, while we competing with each other in this country, while we shit on each other and speak down on one another, black people in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are showing you the examples of black unity. So will the West attack our brothers and sisters in Africa for resisting being exploited by the Western world? Please smash up the likes, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Peace, Black Power.